Dragon Age The Veilguard is out, and I, Zoe Delahunty-Light, want you, dear viewer, to reap the benefits of the God knows how many hours I've put into the game already, so these are the 21 things about Dragon Age The Veilguard that I wish I had known earlier. Be prepared for a lot of multitasking during combat in Dragon Age The Veilguard. You'll need to get a handle on dodging and parrying in particular, as well as using your peripheral vision to monitor projectile paths. The halo above Rook's head denotes when an unblockable or parryable attack is coming and how close it is, which has its own quirks that I'll be going on to next. Just don't expect enemies to give you breathing space during fights, as they will be coming at you from all directions, so basically make sure you're always moving. Parrying is massively OP if you get good at it, but it has its own quirks in Dragon Age The Veilguard. Your halo will turn a deep gold when an attack is about to hit, but parry isn't a button you tap. You have to hold it down as the halo turns from light yellow to deep gold to parry the attack, and if you unlock the required skill nodule, execute a counterattack. If you do it too late, it won't work, and too early, and you'll go into the default blocking pose, but as with anything, you need to practice at it to get good. Soon it'll become second nature, just like avoiding those projectile paths I mentioned before. You can always change the parry time amount in the settings too if you're finding it a bit too tricky, and hey, there's no shame in that. Exploration in Dragon Age The Veilguard is a tad different from its predecessors. When you first unlock an area via a main story quest, you are technically in the area proper, but you'll be exploring it in a linear fashion rather than it being in open world mode. That means you can't explore every nook and cranny just yet. You're on a set path that you have to complete via the main story mission. After completing the story mission you were sent there for, you'll receive a notification that the area is now an explorable area. This means you're now free to treat this area as a miniature open world, meaning waypoints, new paths, areas, chests, and side quests are available. The top left of the map screen will show your collectible progress, but don't worry, any chests you might have found during your first, more linear visit will still count towards your overall collectible total, even if the world progress tracker isn't showing up quite yet. On the map, you'll come across paths that look like they should be connected, but you might find yourself faced with a sheer rock face or something blocking your path that's not marked on the map. If you can't see a clear way to progress, just look up, and 9 out of 10 times there's a ladder up onto the next level. These ladders aren't marked on your minimap, so it can get confusing trying to figure out why a path or route is supposedly there, but you're being faced with a wall. You'll have to find a way to get to the ladder from the other side and then kick it down. A treasure icon, or something more specific like a wolf icon for a Fen'Harel altar, can appear below your minimap to indicate a treasure is nearby, and it will mark itself on your map when you pass it. Veilguard's areas are massively vertical, so check the arrow next to the treasure to see if it's on a level above or below you. If you're still struggling with its position, open your full map and mark the treasure. This will show you the treasure's location in the world, helping you to triangulate it much more easily. While you're searching for treasure, be a public menace and destroy wooden barrels for resources, as often you'll find something hidden behind those crates and barrels too. Don't worry about the doorways that are seemingly impossible to get through at first. There are many closed paths when you first explore an area, which require an ability from a specific companion that will only unlock after a particular quest or story beat with them. Tapping RB, if you're playing on an Xbox controller, will show that they're unlocked via a missing ability too. Don't worry about needing them in your party to use it though, as after unlocking these exploration abilities, you can still use them even when that party member isn't around. You can flirt with everyone in Dragon Age The Veilguard, but there will be a point when the game will force you to commit to someone, and after that, you're locked down. Don't be afraid to flirt with everyone to start with, as your companions won't mind if you're getting cozy with multiple of them, and your flirting options will be more friendly than frisky to begin with. Those heart dialogue options are worth indulging in if you want to get a sense of what each companion is like as a romantic partner. Whenever you're in the Lighthouse, take a peek at the map for any new dialogue options. Your companions each have their own room here, and if they have something to talk about, their character markers will show a little bubble dialogue box above their heads. It's helpful to always interact with these to raise your relationship with that companion. Even if you have no interest in romancing them, raising their bond is what gives them skill points, and who knows, you may find someone more interesting as you get to know them better. Also, if the icon has a little clock symbol, that means that these conversations will expire if you progress the main questline too much, so I'd recommend talking to them as soon as you can, but I do that anyway because of my anxiety. Be sure to return to the Lighthouse before every major quest beat so you don't miss anything. For those of you who want to keep it immersive like me and not check your map all the time, then a spinning lit lamp outside their door means they have new dialogue cutscenes, and an unlit stationary lamp means they have nothing to say. If you're using a controller to play Dragon Age The Veilguard, listen up. Don't mess with the right stick when you're locked onto an enemy, as it will mess up your lock-on by either switching to another enemy or getting rid of the lock-on altogether. It's very annoying. If there are loads of enemies, I'd recommend not having it on, as I found it to be an impediment to staying alive, but if you're fighting a single boss or mini-boss, my advice is to lock on. Make sure your skill slots are varied and synergise with each other. For example, if you have a skill that detonates, make sure someone in your party has a primer. Also, some skills for your player character take pips of a resource like mana, momentum or rage, while others just require a cooldown. Having both of these types of skills at the ready allows you to use all of them more often. If you have 3 skills that each take 2 pips of mana, for instance, you're probably going to find yourself just using your favourite one, which effectively wastes 2 skill slots. For those of you playing a mage orb dagger build like me, remember there's no law against switching to your staff at will. Doing so means you can use the pushbacks the staff has stored in it before returning to the orb and dagger. Statuses, afflictions, primers, detonators, control skills, strike skills, weakened, sundered, necrotic. Veilguard throws around a ton of key terms and phrases that are easy to miss and confuse with each other. While in the equipment or skills menu, press the corresponding details button to see a quick definition of the terms being used, as these can make or break your combat ability or party composition. To do some extra homework, go to the glossary under the codex and missives, which will break down every single term and what it means. There are myriad builds you can create for your team, especially with all your skills being freely refundable, so pay close attention to what these terms mean. While in combat, check the bottom left of the screen, as you can see what buffs, debuffs, and special effects are being applied. Ideally, you want to see a lot of green here, as that means your skills and builds are working together. You mages using the orb and dagger know that you can store up your arcane charges to detonate the arcane bomb. They won't run out if you move from one enemy to the other, and if you get an arcane bomb ready to detonate on multiple enemies, you can use that in combination with effects that magnify its damage. Don't be afraid to make things immersive in Dragon Age The Veilguard. Hiding your HUD not only makes the game look prettier without all that noise, in my opinion, but you can bring up your quest markers and the minimap in a millisecond by pressing up on the D-pad if you're using a controller. Even without bringing up the HUD, when your waypoint updates, it'll pop up on the screen so you don't wander too far from the objective. Something that can help with orienting yourself if you are using a minimap is to head into the interface options and lock the minimap rotation to north. This will make it so your map and the minimap are always facing the same direction. There are some big choices in the Veilguard that change the world state permanently, and how certain characters feel about you, as well as, believe it or not, their range of abilities. Thankfully, it has some incredibly useful save features too. Not only can you name every save, so you specifically know the reason for that save, but temporary decision saves are automatically created that allow you to go back after you make a big one that lets you do something differently. There are also temporary chapter saves that record your progress after finishing a chapter. This is on top of all of your 4 autosaves the Veilguard keeps in rotation as you progress. These temporary decision saves won't last forever, hence the name, so it's smart to keep manually saving often, but they do last for quite a while if you get cold feet about a decision you made. It's a good idea to save up your valuables until you've seen what each faction offers, so you can choose who you want to sell your valuables to, as doing so will rank that faction up quickly. However, selling valuables to a faction's vendor and completing quests related to that faction may raise your allied strength with them, but that doesn't actually unlock anything by itself. After passing that allied rank points threshold, you'll have the option to manually increase the shop rank from the faction's vendor menu, but you'll have to spend extra resources to do it. Increasing this rank increases the range of items you can buy from that vendor, and you can preview all of them, so make sure you pay attention to what you're unlocking before selling your valuables to a faction vendor. The Caretaker back at the Lighthouse works a bit differently from other vendor ranks, as collecting mementos is the only way to increase their shop level. You can find these in the world and buy them from merchants for a pretty affordable price, to be honest. The Caretaker is the only entity who can raise the level of your weapons and armour without you finding or buying a copy of the weapon or armour piece during your adventures. And if you've been wondering what those locked bonuses are on your weapons and armour and how you get them, those will automatically unlock when you upgrade that item. Bringing party members with you into missions will not only increase their bond level, but their experience as well, meaning more skill points for them. If you want all of your companions to be on the same level throughout Dragon Age The Veilguard, you'll need to rotate them in and out of your party so they all gain experience. There are also particular permanent statuses linked to story choices that make these companions, shall we say, behave differently in battle and take longer to warm up to you. That said, there are only a few moments that lock you in with certain character choices, so unless you're finding those moments particularly tough, raising 1 to 3 party members should be enough to get you through the entire game. Between valuables, Fen'Harel statues, weapons, armour, trinkets, gifts and materials, there are tons of collectibles in the Veilguard. Etheric remnants are a valuable currency that you can't use until you reach Act 3, so don't worry about wasting time looking for the right vendor. And, as I mentioned before, new zones are eventually unlocked as exploration areas, so you'll have plenty of time to circle back to something you want later. There are some very granular difficulties and interface options in the Veilguard. You can change anything from enemy HP, enemy aggression, parry timing, threat indicators, aim assist, and even exploration assists. And then, if you'd like enemies to be very aggressive but not giant damage sponges, while at the same time increasing your parry window and decreasing your aim assist, you totally can. Don't let the fun police tell you how to live your life. And finally, once you reach rank 3 with the Caretaker back at the Lighthouse, you unlock enchantment, with greater enchantments becoming available as you increase your rank. Enchantments don't cost any resources, but allows you to add 1 buff to each weapon and piece of equipment you have. The only thing is, you can't have the same buff on 2 pieces, as one will overwrite the other, so make sure you're keeping track of what enchantment is on what item and whether you're still even wielding or wearing that item at all. And those are the 21 things about Dragon Age The Veilguard that I wish I had known sooner. If you found this video useful, please do chuck it a like or leave a comment if you found a tip you think people need to know about Dragon Age The Veilguard. And as always, thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me, Zoe Delahunty-Light, and now I am going to go and play with my transmog options, so I'll see you folks next time.